I previously made a Hobbit-Door keychain, but I decided I needed more doors. This is a really easy beginner tooling project, so I decided to do up a little tutorial for you guys. Alright, first cut out the pattern, linkies down below. Grab a piece of veg tan cowhide scrap. Thicker is better, but it doesn't really matter all that much. Trace around the outside and then cut out the circle. I like to do this in a series of cuts. Now dampen it with a sponge. How much? Too dry and the indents won't go in very deep. Too wet and they turn mushy and fade a bit. You want somewhere in the middle. Plop your pattern on top and trace over all of the lines to transfer them. I like a pencil because it's easier to keep track. And ta-da! Now grab your swivel knife and carve out those lines. Try to keep a consistent depth and don't tip your tool from side to side. I used a stylus to poke in all of the nail holes. Then grab a bevel stamp and a mallet and hammer along the inside of all of those bricks. Don't be afraid to come back and smooth everything out. Next, I used the same stamp to indent in between each of those bricks a little bit. And I also used a stylus to create some indents along the edges as well. And came back in the end with a swivel knife to lightly add the wood grain texture to the panels. And of course I had to add Gandalf's rune. Then I let the leather dry overnight. Next, I punched the 2 holes. If you don't have a stamping mat, you can use a piece of leather scrap or a stack of corrugated cardboard underneath instead. Now it's dyeing time. I used a couple of shades of brown around the edges and painted the dye on with a paintbrush. And then I used green to color the wood. I let the dye dry and sealed it with a couple coats of leather finish. In between each coat, I slicked the edges. Once the finish dried, I wiped on antique paste to fill in the carvings. Use a flat paper towel to rub the excess off. Ooh, it makes such a difference. I usually let antique dry at least overnight and then apply a final couple coats of finish. We're almost done. Let's add the doorknob. This is called a button stud. They come in different sizes, so make sure to select the correct length for your leather thickness. They have 2 halves that just screw in place. There are a number of options to connect your keychain. I used a length of chainmail to connect mine. You could also use a single ring to attach it. You could rivet on the leather loop included with the pattern, use a hook like this, or even stick the key ring directly through the leather. Pattern link in the description. I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure, so subscribe for more nerdy projects.